Hey everybody, I'm Mara Hoover. Welcome to this week's episode of The Mara Show. I'm your host, Mara, as I said before, and I am the founder of FemPower You and Financial Power You. And today, as you can see, I have my lovely guest here with me live, so we'll have a fun conversation. This is Matt Ritchey, and I'm going to go ahead and read his bio, and then we'll jump into our conversation for this week. Matt Ritchey is a lover of life. That is something that I love about him. I met him a couple of months ago now, I guess it was. And we connected on the idea of fun, which I know we're going to talk about. As a lifestyle architect, he helps people build the life they always wanted by giving them a blueprint on how to create a life from the inside out. He's a master neurolinguistics practitioner, which provides access to the subconscious mind in order to get to the root of any limiting beliefs that may be stopping you from living your best life. He believes there is a greatness within us all and loves connecting others with their best self in order to take massive action towards the life they have always dreamed of. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. So we are actually hanging out in Matt's front yard right now in the lovely Encinitas, California. And so you're going to hear some traffic and some trains, but just go with it because we thought this would be more fun to do in person.
Absolutely. It's always more fun in person.
Yeah, definitely. So lifestyle architect. Where the heck did you come up with that?
Yeah, I just kind of made that up, right? So I was rebranding myself because there's a lot of life coaches out there. There's a lot of people who are mentors. There's a lot of people who consult. And I really feel like I do all three of those. And the lifestyle architect really came out of me building foundations for people and having them have a blueprint for their life. So, an architect works off a blueprint. They build buildings, they build structures, whatever they're building. So the lifestyle architect just kind of really came together, and I really enjoy that because I do coaching, I do mentoring, I do consulting, I do all these different areas where I don't really just consider it life coaching. And just as a marketing person, it's definitely good to just stand out. And lifestyle architect, people kind of like, what is that?
So where did this come from? I mean, has it been your life journey that then you've taken and sort of compiled into a business, or how did you move from where you were into this idea?
Yeah, basically. So I had a marketing company that was doing very well, and I was always been a world traveler, and I traveled to Cambodia and had a breakthrough experience where I decided that I wanted to do something more impactful with my life that was making a difference in the lives of others. And I had my own coach for the previous 2 years before that, and I just decided to start dabbling in it and see if I enjoyed it. And I did it for free, pro bono, for the first couple months with some people that I'd met, and I just decided that this is something I wanted to take on full time. So with my marketing background and the desire to learn and to grow in the sense of being a coach, being a mentor, and that's one of the reasons I did the neurolinguistic programming, because it really gives you a basis for the subconscious mind and how we can reprogram all of our beliefs, anything that we're carrying from childhood, anything we're carrying, whatever those stories are, we're able to change them. And so this coaching and the lifestyle design that I do is really based around that, of how we can take inventory where we're at and really get clear on where we want to go, and then reverse engineer the steps we need to get there, and get there in the least amount of time as possible. We're very big on efficiency and how we can get there quickly and easily.
So when you're first working with a client, what does that initial process look like? Like if someone were to come to you and say, is it somebody that usually has some dissatisfaction in their life, or is it more someone who wants to optimize? What does that client look like for you?
Yeah, so both, but more the first one you said. So more, usually I get people who hit a pain threshold where it's just too high that they need to have some sort of change in life. They need to shift something. They generally don't even know what that is. They generally even don't really know the cause or the root of the pain that they're feeling. So what I do is, I give whoever I do one-on-one coaching with access to my program, the Best Life Roadmap, and then I have them start there. And because I've done all this recording, so instead of spending hours upon hours on online with me in person, that would cost them a lot of money. So
right.
I give them that to set up on, and then that really pulls up some of their stuff, and then I'm able to sit down and coach them through that, or help advise them through whatever they're going through, and then I'll do some neurolinguistic modalities on them if they need to have a breakthrough, if they need to have a limiting belief busted, or whatever that is. But really, I just have them sit down, and the very first step that I have every single person I work with do is gratitude.
Gratitude. Awesome. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so gratitude was one of the huge game changers for me, and I really got into reading about gratitude and possibilities it creates for the human potential. And we have a part of our brain called the reticulating activating system, so the RAS, and whatever it sees the most of, whatever it sees consistently, it starts to pull more of that in. So if you're always looking at the negative things, if you're watching the news, if you're around negative people, then in general your life is probably going to feel a little negative. So what I have people do is just starting gratitude. So every day when you wake up, do 3 things of gratitude. I recommend doing it as much as you can, whether it be 100 things or in the morning and at night, until you finally get your RAS reprogrammed to look for positive things, because there are many, many positive things out in the world as well as negative, and it just depends what we want to focus on, what we want to create our reality with. So whatever we focus on is going to create our reality.
I love that, because one of the things that I love doing, and I encourage my clients to do, is to keep a journal and write down synchronicities. So that's one of those things that I think when we begin to notice the stuff that shows up for us and the connections that happen, and we acknowledge and we're thankful for those things, it starts to bring in even more.
Yeah.
And then you're grateful for it, and then more shows up, and then you're grateful, and then more shows up. It's magical.
It's funny how that works, right? It's like, well, I guess I'll start to be grateful. And that's how it worked with me. Someone just told me about gratitude, and I love 30-day challenges. So I did a 30-day challenge that I was going to do gratitude every single day. And after 30 days, I was like, I saw all these synchronicities, all these coincidences started to come up. I'm like, well, it seems to be working. I'm going to continue to do it. So that was 2.5 years ago now, and I've been doing it every day ever since. And honestly, it's changed my life. It's reprogrammed my brain. And not only that, now I'm able to distinctly pick out positives in every single situation. And that's where my brain automatically goes. I don't think about the negative much. And it's always good for reflection and looking at the negative or something that didn't work. But in general, you want to spend 99% of your time in the positive and really keep the negative only for reflection and for growth.
So what does your daily gratitude practice look like? Is it written? Is it verbal? Tell me what you do every day.
It's evolved, but when I first started out, I recommend writing it down. There's something about kinesthetically writing down on paper, just linking that with the mind. And then for a long time I did it. I'm a very kinesthetic person as well, so I was like, I want to take this to another level. So what I started doing, I started taking a morning jog, like a quarter mile, whatever, and I started just shouting all the things I was grateful for. So I used to live in like a gated neighborhood, and people just knew it. I didn't think they were just this is crazy guy, just shout stuff. But I would just be like, I love my life, I'm excited to be alive today, all these things, whatever I was grateful for. And it really wired into me, so I'm very kinesthetic. But now I generally just do a meditation every morning, and after the meditation I do this visualization. Part of the visualization is a gratitude session. And then honestly, it just comes naturally now. Like, I'll just be grateful for things all the time. Like, I'll just be sitting there and all of a sudden I'll just be overwhelmed with gratitude. I'm just like, oh, I feel so grateful right now. So it's become part of who I am and what I do all day now. But I used to have to program it in and really do it specifically for a certain time until I just started becoming one.
Awesome. So after gratitude, what comes next?
So the people I work with generally are in a state of confusion in a lot of sense. So what I have them do is, if they're not already in an active meditation practice, I have them take up some sort of stillness, some sort of quiet time. But meditation doesn't have to be sitting on a pillow with your legs crossed. It can be a lot of things. I mean, I personally do that, and I think that's where I gain the most clarity. But what works for me may not work for you, and it definitely won't work for everyone. So what I have people do is find some sort of stillness, whether that is going for a run, going for a bike ride, painting, singing, whatever gets their mind basically away from all of their other thoughts and problems and everything else that's driving them crazy. Get out of that normal state of mind and get into something different. So however that looks for them, I'd be pretty flexible with what that is, as long as they're getting results with it. And if they're not, then I recommend and I'll help them through a meditation practice. Because meditation, it's scary at first, but once you start doing it, it's really quite easy. Doing a 5-minute meditation every day minimum, I think is super helpful. I think if everyone did a 5-minute meditation, we'd have a lot more peace and a lot less anxiety and a lot less stress in our world.
So I use I use the Dive as my meditation, which is a really cool song that's a blend of Tibetan bowls and rain. What do you use? Because I think that's the question that I get from a lot of people is, they know that they need to be meditating, they should be meditating or whatever, and they know that it would be great for them, but a lot of times it's a question of, how do I get started? What is it supposed to look like? And I know that there are so many different modalities, but what works for you?
There's just a ton of modalities. So for me, I've gone, and like I say, I love to experience new things. I've tried them all. I've done the Buddhist meditations where you focus on your physical body parts and you relax your body. I've done counting meditations where you're just basically counting breath. I've done binaural beats, which is similar to, I think, what you're talking about with the rain, the deep dive, where it just puts in like certain wavelengths in different ears, and it basically puts your brain at a very relaxed brain wavelength, and you're able to just relax and not have your brain be racing. That worked for me very early on. So if you're having trouble, this is what I recommend for people who do meditation and they're like, oh, it's not working. Well, I'm like, well, let's do some binaural beats, because binaural beats is just science. It just physically brings your brain levels down. I don't need to do that anymore. I still do that from time to time, where I'll do a binaural beats just because I grew up on them, or when I started doing them, that's what I did, and I enjoy them. But I recommend for people when they start is just to start with a simple breath meditation. So the simpler we can keep it, the easier they're going to stay to it, and the more impactful it can be. So just starting out with sitting down, I say start with 30 seconds. If you've never meditated before, start with 30 seconds at a time. If it feels good, keep going. If after 30 seconds you're like, oh man, I'm glad that was over, then just stop for the day, whatever it is, and then do it consistently. So when I work with people, like baby steps and daily consistent action are the two biggest things for me. It's like, don't take on too much and do it every day. If you can do that, then you'll automatically see results. It may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a year, but you're eventually going to get to where you want to go.
Got it. So gratitude, meditation, or stillness of some sort.
Yeah, stillness.
Then what?
Well, from there it's a very case-by-case basis, because there's some people I work with that want a little more help within their business, and being that I have a very good business background, I've been an entrepreneur for the last 7 years, I help them within that, and even just their view, or them in their business, because a lot of people are their business. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, or whatever you're doing, you are your business. So I can give you a little bit of insight into that. If it's somebody who's just wanting to rediscover their life and create a business, or create something new, or create a new possibility in their life, then we go into that and we find out what their passion is, and we dive deep into, even from a childlike stage, what they love doing the most. When you get down to that on a basic level, then you can start to plug that in, like, well, I love doing X, well, maybe I could do that within this. I love singing, maybe I could do it within, maybe I could go sing for Cirque du Soleil, or I could go sing in the circus, whatever, I don't know. But really just getting back to that state of pure passion and joy, when people are coming from that place, when they're working in that space, and that's like that space where they earn their living and their money, people just seem to be so much more fulfilled and so much more excited to wake up and take on their day, because they get to do something they love to do, and they get to do something that is impactful for other people. So getting really clear about what that is that's going to make you happy every single day. And of course, we all have bad days. We're not going to be happy every single day, but when you can do it the majority of the time, I feel like for me, I wake up and I'm happy 95% of the time. And that's a pretty damn good percentage. I'm not saying I can't improve, but I feel like for me it's been a really great percentage. And that's when I know I'm in alignment. That's when I know I'm doing the things that I'm here to do, that my strengths and talents support. And you'll know when you're working with customers. I'm sure you have this as well. You just know when you're in that alignment and you're seeing transformation with people, you're giving them results, you're getting results yourself. It's a very circular flow of energy where you're giving and getting at the same time.
Right. One of the conversations that we had when we first met a few months ago, I was going through a really tough, emotionally painful time in my life, and we were talking about fun. And I think that that's one of the things that I love about you, and that you do really well, which is kind of, in a sense, like you just drove up to San Francisco. Was that planned, or was it just like, hey, we want to go do this?
Yeah, that was not planned.
I love it.
Yeah, this past weekend, I'm part of a group called Evolution Group, and we do Evolution Room, and we do day-long events and week workshops, and it's based around connection and fun. And we've been doing amazing here in Southern California, and we had a giant slip and slide here a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you heard about that. We had a 200-foot slip and slide in Kate Sessions Park down closer to San Diego, and we had some people there that were from San Francisco that were connected with this other group. It's a bucket list group called Forward Motion. They do these big events. And this weekend was Messy Twister. And we got a call from them, and they're like, hey, we'd love to have your presence up here, because they really enjoyed the experience that we created down here. And so we're like, all right. So we just jumped in a car. We had I know a bunch of people up there, so we found places to stay, and just spontaneously drove up. We got there. We didn't have anything planned. we just got there. We started playing, having fun. And then once everyone was kind of there, we think we had about 60 participants. We had about 150 people there. It was like a vortex of energy. Everyone was like around us because we were in this public park. And as soon as we got as soon as we got there and got just the majority of people there, we stopped and did a connection experience where we do like a game where we'll have them do these certain, it's hard to explain without getting up and doing it, but you're doing like connection games where you're doing these one foot hops where you're holding on to each other, and then you're doing the caterpillar, where you're laying down underneath each other and like pulling each other through, and then you're doing the steamroller where everyone lays down flat and like rolls over everybody from one end to the other. And it sounds crazy and it sounds very childlike, which it is, but it's simple. It brings us, it's touching, it's physical touch, and it's connection, and it's fun.
Right.
So we did those, and then we did like a massage train circle. Everyone's like giving massages, and you just feel the energy just rising when you get there, because it's really cool to see when people connect. It releases, I mean, you get back to a science level, it brings these chemicals in our brains, and it releases these bonding agents, and it automatically will help you connect better with people. So the fun that we're able to bring, and that I'm so blessed to be connected to within myself, is something that people are craving. This world we live in, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of this and that. There's sometimes not a lot of fun. Right. And like I say, when I met you, I think I was just starting my 30 days of fun. I can't remember when we met. I think you were, yeah. I did all of June for 30 days. I did 30 days of fun. And I wrote a whole article on that, the good and the bad of that. But the majority of it, of course, is good. But being focused and not having too much fun is also where you got to be at. But I found a very delicate balance for myself. After about 2 weeks of straight fun, I was almost getting burnt out of just being around people. I'm a very outgoing person, but I need my private time as well. So having that balance of fun, and I really learned by the end, is just to inject fun into whatever you do. Instead of seeking out fun, like see how you can do, how whatever you're doing right now can be more fun. Like how can you do it with a smile? How can you do it, engage other people? Or how can you do it, that's just going to be more lighthearted and less stressful and less serious. Because we take a lot of our stuff super seriously, and I just don't think that we need to in order to be successful. Yeah, that's always been something that I've been very good at, is being serious, and that's why I loved our conversation. So what are some of the things that you actually decided to do for fun? Oh, wow. Took a random spontaneous surf trip to Mexico. Okay, that sounds fun. Yeah, that was a blast. We did the giant slip and slide, which was awesome. I went boogie boarding for the first time since I was about 10 years old. Awesome. I've been surfing, but I've not been boogie boarding for like 20-some years. And so we went boogie boarding. We just had random bonfires at the beach the one night. A lot of it was very spontaneous. Okay. And none of it, hardly any of it was planned on my part. And that was the beautiful thing about the 30 Day of Fun Challenge, is I had so many people reach out to me and say, I want to be part of this. I want to have more fun. And that's when I got the thing. I was like, wow, people were wanting this. People really want to have more fun. People want to have fun injected into their life and into their work. So since then, I've been recreating some things and really going over some stuff that I want to do within my business that's going to help it make it not only more fun for me, but the people who work with me. So the whole fun thing of going out and doing fun things is awesome. I did a lot of great fun things. Let's say we went to Mexico. I went to the fair one day. We went to SeaWorld one day as well. And just random things that came up. People were like, hey, I'm going here. I have an extra ticket. It was like you were open to it, and then it just showed up. Exactly. I was like basically telling the universe that, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to have more fun. Like, let it come in. Cool. And it did. And like I say, it was really awesome to see all the people that I was able to connect with. I met a bunch of new people, connected with people that I had known before or didn't know that well, and got to know better. And then I really just connected with myself and realized that the things that I liked, the fun, and the balance point that I needed, because I know that I'm a very outgoing person, and I love going out and connecting with people. But then I also need time for myself. Right. So I definitely need to stop and take a night in and just do nothing. Right. I did that one night of 30 Days of Fun, and I was like, this is my fun for the day. I'm going to be by myself. This is fun. I'm just going to lay here and recover. Yeah, I'm just going to lay here and do nothing. It's like the whole Office Space thing. It's like I did nothing, and it was as beautiful as I thought it could be. So awesome. Cool. Another thing that I know that you have really created, and you mentioned the Evo Room a little bit, is building community. And I think that that's something that you are naturally good at. And that oftentimes when we get busy and when we get serious, the two things that tend to get cut out, I'm just going to wait till the train passes. I can get one about every 15. Yeah. Pause. Okay. So I think that fun and community is what gets cut out, because we get so serious and then we end up alone and isolated and wondering why we're miserable. So are there any community building principles or things that you have done
that can help people to build that support system around themselves so that it doesn't feel like work to have a community, but it actually enriches their lives?
Great question. Um, that's a tough question because I'm trying to figure out. I never really boil down my process too much when it comes to community building, because it's not something I've necessarily done consciously.
Right.
But obviously we talk about fun, and I think that's integral with building community, because people want to be around fun, and that energy that surrounds fun is very attractive. People are like sucked in, like say it's like a vortex where people are just drawn to that. So if you want to do something, or if you want to build community, I would start with fun.
Okay.
To be maybe one of the pillars. Another one is authenticity and alignment with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you're a very open, transparent, authentic person, which is one of the high values I try and embody every day, people sense that, and people are like, okay, this guy, he's got no ulterior motives. He just wants to have fun, build community, whatever it is, whatever the intention for the gathering is, and they really sense that, and they're like, okay, people don't want to be tricked. People don't want to be like sold to. People don't want they want transparency. They want authenticity. They want you to be your real self.
Right.
And I think in order to build community, that would probably be more actually impactful than fun. It's just to be who you are, whatever that is. Whether that's to go to Comic-Con and dress up, to be around all the comic book nerds. Cool. I just went to Comic-Con for the first time this year. Which was awesome.
Oh, was it?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Or if it's whatever your thing is. So don't try and force community. I know in high school I tried to do that, where I would just try and be with the cool kids and I acted a certain way. But it wasn't that fun. I was with these people that I didn't really like, I didn't have connection with, and I wasn't even connected to myself, so I was completely not having fun.
Right.
So I would say be yourself, have fun, and you're going to find people within that. And all you need to do is connect with maybe one person, and that one person knows a person, and that person knows a person, and all of a sudden you have a group of 10 people. And that's the way it starts. I mean, it all starts organically, where you're like, I just want to do this. And I've done meetups, I've done events before where I didn't really know anyone was going to show up, but I just said, hey, put it out there. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I think other people want to do this too, so I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna be the catalyst for it, and then people will show up. And it's like they say, build it and make it fun.
Yeah. So it's really a sense of openness. And it seems like, if for those that might be in that space of, hey, this really isn't working for me anymore, I am feeling isolated, setting that intention and trusting that, through that practice of gratitude, those people are going to show up.
Yeah, and then obviously, like anything, I think being in action. So you can't just sit around hoping people are going to like knock on your door to come have fun. You either need to, and with our technology these days, there's really no reason not to be connected with people that you want to be connected with, just because between Meetup and Facebook and all these social interfaces, we can connect with people whether we know them or not. On Meetup, it's so easy to go find any interest you have. As long as you're in a decent sized community, there'll be something there. So in San Diego here, it's huge, and there's tons and tons and tons of meetups. Actually, probably too many meetups. It's almost overload.
Right.
But when I first moved here, I'd never heard of Meetup. I was from Pennsylvania. We didn't have Meetup. 8 years ago, Meetup definitely didn't exist in Pennsylvania, and it has a very, very small presence there now. But I just started to go out. I would go out and go to bars and go to places where I thought I wanted to meet people. It didn't work out for the longest time, of course, and then I really got comfortable with who I was and what I really wanted to call in, and then I started connecting with those people. And it was funny because it only took one person.
Okay.
I don't know, do you know Jess Johnson?
No.
Okay. She was the person who plugged me into my whole community that I know now. And it was just some random happenstance.
Random.
Yeah, some random right?
happenstance, yes.
I decided I wanted to run a half marathon, and she was the leader for the Team Challenge marathon. Well, actually, let me back that up. I didn't decide I wanted to run a half marathon. I decided I wanted to go to Vegas, and they were giving away a free trip to Vegas if you ran the half marathon.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I want to go to Vegas. I was like, I've never run a half marathon. I guess I'll do a half marathon.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was great. So, and then I connected with one person, and she introduced me to like 50 other people, and then I got from there. It just grew. And it's been that's been about 4 years ago, over 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. Wow, it's over middle of 2014. Yeah, it's been 4.5 years ago.
Cool.
And it's been just growing ever since. And and they honestly, and everything is contingent on another. Like finding those people helped me find myself.
Right.
So I had to have the desire to want to have more people in my life and to want to be more aligned with who I was, even though I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
I just had that desire, and then like say the universe puts things on our path. I didn't know I didn't really want to run a half marathon, but I just decided to, and it happened that I met this one person, and then from there, I've unleashed so many things within myself that it's just kind of opened it up. Like I say, I like to use the word vortex. It just kind of pulls energy in.
Yeah.
I can't explain it any better than that.
Yeah, it's like creating, when you get really, really aligned with who you are, you turn into a magnet, is the way that I always explain it. Or my favorite visual is a lighthouse. So if you're the lighthouse on the hill and you're willing to shine and step out and be that beacon and be 100% of who you are, that makes it really easy for your people to find you. And people can look at you, and so for some, I mean, the risk when you step out like that is that you know that you're not going to be for everybody. And if you're okay with that, then you can really shine. And when that starts to happen, those people find you instead of you having to go out and look for them. I'm sure you've had that experience.
You are a lighthouse.
Well, thank you.
You would know.
I would know, fellow lighthouse. So what else? What else is part of the Life by Design process?
So the lifestyle by design is really about a lot of things, but really is about creating a life that you want to live. Because regardless of what you believe, whether you think you're dying and going somewhere, or you think you're reincarnated, I mean, you're here for a finite period of time in this time and space in this body. So I like to think that, like, I'm an efficiency expert. I'm like, I want to maximize my time here.
Right.
Not only do I want to maximize what I do, but the people I meet, the experiences I have. And a life by design really sets you up to do that. So, I talk to a lot of people, and we talk about how I've designed my life. And I've designed my life to where I woke up this morning, did some short work, some email that I had to do, and I went surfing. Had a great meeting with a guy that I went surfing with, and we talked business. And then cool. I come here, and I take a coaching call, and then I come out here, and I'm having a great conversation with amazing people that just came to my house. And then later on, I'm probably going to go play basketball, and I have some other work I have to do. But it's really about creating this life where I get to do the things I want to do. I get to create the life and make it how I want to see fit, in a sense that, when you're working a normal 9 to 5 and you're in that kind of box, there's a lot of things that just aren't aligned. And the main one is that you're just not passionate about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So, and I say, and that's where I start everyone out, is just when you find that passion for what you're doing, then nothing else matters, because everything else will fall into place. Whenever you're following that passion, whenever you're waking up every morning excited, in gratitude, and in service to others, when you have those ingredients moving for you, then certain things just open up, and certain opportunities just show up that weren't there before, that wouldn't be there if you weren't in that space. Right. So the whole lifestyle design process it's layered. It's got a lot of layers on it, and it's really hard to explain to somebody if they have no idea of what lifestyle design is. But the first and major component is just to connect with who you are and really what you want to do in this life, what you want to do with your 100 years instead. If you want to have this kind of impact, if you just want to experience these kind of things, whatever that is, you can do it. It's possible. And that's the biggest thing I get with people that are like, oh, I can't do that. I didn't go to school, or my parents didn't have any money, or whatever limiting belief they have about their life and why they can't live it. And it's just not true. Mm-hmm. You're just making up a story, and you're going off of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not serving you to as high as you could. And I feel like in order to have an awesome life, you have to be connected with your best self, and your best self knows all these things, even if it's just subconsciously. And that's why even I have a coach, even I have people that I connect with, because I got to see my own stuff too, because we all have things consciously that we just don't see. Yep.
Well, I see that, when you were just talking about, so you design what you want, and then we have all these stories that we tell ourselves. I think one of the biggest things is whatever we picked up by default from our family of origin. It's like, what were we told that we should do, that we're supposed to do? What sort of self-judgment is going on, where it's trying to compare yourself to someone else? So I would imagine there's a piece in your program about figuring out, what I work with is coming up with your definition of success, and really what that's going to look like for you, so you no longer create that comparison. Is that?
Definitely, absolutely.
So how do you do that?
A life by design, I love how you say it, because I used to compare myself all the time, especially when I first started my business. I'm like, oh, how much money am I making? Right. That was like the number one. And then how many people am I connecting with that can help me? Mm-hmm. And all these different things that were coming up for me. And I realized that it was stressful. Mm-hmm. It didn't really make me that happy. Right. It didn't really feel aligned. Like, I didn't really, I don't want to go up or wake up every morning just to make money and just to connect with more people. So essentially I could make more money. It was really all came back down to making more money. So within the lifestyle design I do, I have 4 pillars. We work on health, wealth, relationships, and yourself. So those four main things, that encompasses everything you can think of. And of course, health is pretty easy to think about. You have your physical health, and you have your the food you eat, all the things you're putting into your body, and then you have your relationships, which is your connection with people, your direct connection with spouses, partners, close circle friends, and then your wealth, of course, is pretty explainable as well. You have the money you're bringing in, the what I call like psychic income, which is basically paying it forward and doing things that you don't know are going to come back to you.
Right.
Or you don't have any like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get that. It's just doing things, and then things come back around.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I've lived my life on, is really to have build up psychic income, where I'm just paying it forward, just being in service to others, and then it's amazing how it just comes back around. It's amazing how people just show up, amazing how I meet people, or how willing people are to introduce me to amazing people if I need to, because I'm in service, because I show up a certain way. And it comes back tenfold in my experience. Whatever I give, I get tenfold. And that has been amazing. And that's been a thing in surrender and trust and all these things.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea the level that I needed to really surrender and trust, because we all have control issues.
Yeah. Oh, here comes that train again.
That was a quick one. I feel like it hasn't been 15 minutes.
No, I don't think it has. Maybe that's the Amtrak instead of the coaster. Pause.
Pause for cause. So I got a little off topic there. The original question was what now?
Well, you covered 3. You did health, community. The last
health,
one was
wealth, relationships, and self. So
self. Okay.
Self is really finding that stillness, really connecting to whatever higher power you believe in. Finding that source of power within you. So whatever you want to call it, you can call it God, you can call it universe, you can call it your best self. It doesn't matter. Connecting with that power within you, and that is the most important one. I always start there, because once you have that self power, if you are empowered, you're not gonna put crap in your body. You're not going to only work for money. There's just certain things that just sort of work themselves out in the other fields, that if you work on yourself first and really go within, that is gonna clear up a lot of the external issues. It's gonna clear up a lot of the problem areas you had before, whether it be health, whether it be money, whether it be your relationships with other people. Because I found it, the most amazing thing is, once I started changing myself, other people started to change. And it was really just the way they changed to me, and the way I perceived them, and the way I didn't judge them, and the way that I accepted them. So working on yourself, for me, is the number one pillar, and that's where I start with everyone. That's why I have people do gratitude. That's why I have them do some sort of stillness or meditation, is to really build that foundation of connecting with self, aligning with your higher self, your best self, God, whatever you want to call it, and then being able to move forward powerfully, taking that connection, that power, and really putting it forward into something that you're passionate about, putting it forward into something that's going to make you happy, something that's going to be fun, and something that's going to change the world or have some sort of positive impact.
So you mentioned surrender, and that's something that I've been playing with lately, in the idea of, I call it the more like an allowing energy. So what I've found is, for the first 30 years of my life, I'm turning 30 in October, it's been a very masculine energy. I have to make things happen. I always found myself saying, okay, I got to wake up this morning and I got to make it happen. And it's exhausting. And I've been playing with this idea in the last couple of months, and really seeing a major shift in how things show up for me when I've decided to shift my energy to more of allowing things to happen. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because I know that that's kind of probably been a very similar journey for you. What's working for you in that space of allowing and yet being in action at the same time?
And that's a great point at the end there.
You have a spider there on your leg.
Hey buddy, what's up?
Spider break.
So I think that was a great point you ended on, as far as allowing and surrendering, but also being in action.
Yeah.
Because you can't, and I feel everything is a balance. So whether the balance is 50-50, 80-20, 20-80, whatever that is. So for me, and it ebbs and flows for me, so when it comes to surrender, there's certain times where I just completely surrender and do nothing. Because I just feel called, I just know. And I really can't explain that, other than just when you tap in, when you really do the stillness practice for me every day, and consistently now for over almost 3 years, you just know. So I just know when I just need to stop and be like, this is just a time to rest. And it's been, you talk about stress going, how can you make it happen? What I found was, when I would wake up and be in that action mode and be, I'm going to do this, I'm going to, force it, or whatever it is, I'm just going to make it happen, whatever it is.
Right.
it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of energy expenditure, and it generally never turns out as good as I wanted it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that there's plenty of ways to get to where you want to go, that you don't need to force through certain things. You don't need to plow through certain things. So say instead of waking up that morning, if I woke up that morning and just felt the need to relax and or whatever it is, just surrender into just maybe I need self-care. Maybe I need to go to the beach. Maybe I need to get a massage. Maybe I need to do something for me. But if I ignore that and go into that, then I say I'll find that my energy is off. I can't create like I want to create. I don't connect with people as deeply as I want to connect. All my faculties are lower.
Okay.
So when I align with that energy of, or that knowingness to surrender or to stop or to take self-care, and I follow that and I honor that, I find that not only is it more fun and less stressful, that when I come back the next day, then I can like crush it. Like the next day I'm just so excited, so in that energy, and then it's almost effortless on that end. I don't even have to like try. I don't have to like force my way into things. Whatever it was will come out more naturally. I know that sounds kind of crazy, and that's one of the things about lifestyle design where I think the 9 to 5 just doesn't necessarily work. A lot of people wake up, and it's cyclical. It's like not cyclical. It builds on each other. So if you're not happy with what you're doing, if you're doing that job day after day after day after day, and then some days you're kind of like, I just don't even want to go in today. And then you go there, and how effective are you going to be? You're going to be doing half-assed work at best. And you're going to be feeling stressful, and you're going to be wanting to be somewhere else. You're not going to be in the present moment. And so for me, the whole thing around lifestyle design is being able to pick and choose when you work or how you work. And like say for me, I don't sit down for 8 hours at a time and work. I work 2 hours here, I work 2 hours there, I work 2 hours here, and I get the same amount of stuff done. Actually, I get more stuff done now in less time than I used to. So I used to sit down, like I need to sit down for this 4 hours and work. And then I realized that wasn't really working for me. And everyone's different, of course. I'm sure everyone, there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I can sit down for 4 or 6 hours and write. That's great. That's just not me. And you got to know what works for you. And so for me, just knowing and listening to that voice, that feeling, I'm very kinesthetic, so it's more feeling. But a lot of people say that, voice or whatever they, hear or see, maybe envision, that if you follow that, if you honor that, it's going to be fun, it's going to be much easier, and you're going to get a lot more done with a lot less energy.
Perfect. Another trend. We are popular, saying. I have a friend who does healing work and lives near the train tracks, so she always says that when a train goes by, it's just whatever's being said at the time needs to be emphasized. So it's like the exclamation point at the end of what you just said.
Yeah,
we'll go with that.
Yeah, and NLP, I don't know what we call that, but basically if I'm doing something and a sound comes in, I'll just use it like, as the train goes by, you can feel yourself relaxing even deeper.
Yes, exactly.
Because the subconscious mind is going to hear the train, so if you acknowledge it and then pull it into the thing, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah. I love it. Well, I have loved our conversation, and one of the things that we always do on the Mara Show is give a cool offer to our guests. So can you let everybody know what you have planned for them, because I'm really excited about it.
Sure. So, as I was speaking to you before, I have a program called the Best Life Roadmap, and it's been about a year now it's been open, and I've had tweaks through it, and I've put new modules in there and done some new stuff. And I'm going to be continuing to update it ongoing, and so I decided to go away from just buying the program to a monthly subscription. And it's $19.99 a month. But since we're here now, and I love Mara, and I'm sure if you're part of Mara's tribe, then I'm going to love you as well. I want to give you a taste of it. I want to give you access to it to check it out. So in the link, I'm not sure exactly where that'll be, wherever Mara has her link, there'll be access to get into the Best Life Roadmap for $1. I'll give you a 30-day trial for $1, and if you don't like it, or if you just figured out this is not for you, then I'll just refund your money. And if you love it, and you want to continue to work in it, and I'm going to continue adding great content and some amazing value in there, then you can continue the $19.99 a month for as long as it serves you. So I'm excited to connect with you on whatever level that is. And if you're part of Mara's tribe, I'm sure that you're in alignment with everything we've been talking about today and wanting to move forward on some level in some part of your life. And I can help you within that area, and I'd love to be of service to you. Awesome.
So $1 trial for the Life by Design Roadmap? No.
Best Life Roadmap.
Best Life Roadmap.
Yeah.
And the way that we make it really easy for all of our listeners is this video is going to be archived at themarashow.com. You just click the archive button, and right underneath this interview there's going to be a button that you can click that's going to take you directly to Matt's membership site, where you can sign up for the $1 trial and check it out. So head on over to themarashow.com for those of you that are watching this live. For those that are watching the archive, it's going to be in the archive section forever. and you'll be able to give that a try. Well, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. So thanks, Matt, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming here and partaking in this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I loved being able to do these live. It's more entertaining for me.
Yeah, it is. We feed off each other's
and it's kinesthetic. So yay!
Exactly.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us again. I'm Mara Hoover, and I'm the host of The Mara Show, where we bring you experts in the area of personal development, business, and relationships. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, at 11 a.m. Pacific, for our next interview.